Hello, everyone. A very warm welcome to all of you in the Franchise Summit, where we will help our prospective franchisees to know our industry leaders better and to evaluate the business opportunities after hearing from them directly. My name is Ashita Marya, and I'm the CEO of Franchise India. And today we'll help you to understand the opportunities and the risks which are involved in Terra Green's franchise today. Franchise India exhibitions from past 22 years have been providing a platform to thousands of investors to evaluate the franchise businesses for themselves by coming face to face with our franchisors in 100 plus shows nationwide. But during these times when the physical shows are not happening, we are doing the similar activities virtually and helping our prospective franchisees meet up with the principal companies. We have Ms. Litika Madhukuri, the founder and the chief strategist for Terra Greens Organic Private Limited with us today, as she will tell us about the upcoming trends in the industry also. And what Terra Greens as a company, as a franchise opportunity has to offer, to all the visitors today. She co-founded Terra Greens Organic along with her mother, Ms. Padmaja Bhanu, in 2012. It all started out with a family farm, and today they work with over 12,000 farmers all across India with over 100 products and a retail presence of about 1,000 outlets. She founded Green Stations, which is a retail venture in 2019. It currently has 3 retail outlets and is growing enormously on e-commerce across Hyderabad today. Um, so welcome, Likita. We would like to, understand. It seems to be a very interesting concept and a very in thing today, which has a lot of demand due to the growing problems that we see all across. If you could take us through the opportunity and let us know what excited you or what let you start this venture.
Thank you so much, Ashita, for giving us the opportunity to present. But to start off with, I co-founded Terra Greens, like you introduced me back in 2012, and that's an organic food company and an organic brand that we distribute across the country. And Green Station, which is what we are offering to all the potential franchisee investors here, is a retail venture that we started last year. So we started off with parking trucks around the city, and then slowly we moved to small format retail stores. We opened our first store in Gandipet in 2019, and we finished a year of operation, and we opened 2 more last month. Green Station itself started off as a concept of an alternate supermarket where you get like the better version of everything that you get in a normal supermarket. So if you look at supermarket, the categories that are there or whatever is available, we want to have the more sustainable option available in Green Station. And that's where our mission statement also comes through, where we want to be the destination where people make better choices, not only for themselves, but for the supply chain, the community, and for the planet as well. That's how we started out, and this is our journey till date, just as I explained. And it's been about a little more than a year since we've been in operation. And Green Station itself is an omni-channel retail entity. So we have an online presence and an offline presence. So we have an online presence and an offline presence. We have an e-commerce website that we do operate, and we also operate through hyper-local delivery platforms like Swiggy and Dunzo. We have a subscription-based service as well. On the offline level, we have stores and the truck. We also work from a centralized warehouse through which we will be supplying to all our partners and our own stores as well. And the product portfolio that we're looking at is organic grocery, fruits and vegetables, dairy, snacks and beverages. Our main forte here is that we are multi-brand platform. Apart from Terra Greens, which is a 10-year-old company which will be supporting Green Station with all the staples and the fruits and vegetables that we work closely with almost 100 plus farmers on that side and 12,000 farmers for the other supply chain. We also have 80 plus brands on board from all over the country, and they are sourced and from about 12 cities, and we have close to 1400 SKUs that we sell through Green Station. So mainly with Green Station, we want to solve the problem of accessibility, quality, range, and trust, and also customer experience. The main problem that we see in the space today, there are many vegetable shops, there are many organic shops, but how Green Station stands out is that we are addressing the problems that our customer faces. The first thing is that of accessibility. People want to eat organic food, but where and how do they get it? Secondly, is the organic food that is available really organic? That's where our supply chain advantage kicks in, whether it is from Terra Greens as the parent company or our direct farmer network. So we have the trust and also the supply chain to back our claims that Green Station makes. Apart from that, the problem of range. So you see smaller organic stores, they only have fruits and vegetables or limited grocery. When I say we have 80 brands and 1400 SKUs, which is constantly growing, we are offering our customers a range of products which is not available anywhere. So especially in Hyderabad, we are the only store that stocks the range of products that we do. And we also have a lot of brands for whom we are the only offline presence. So that way we give a platform to many brands, smaller brands in the sustainability space with Green Station. And then we talk about customer experience. All our stores are maintained in a way that have great customer experience and a shopping experience. They're all clean, they're all templatized, they all look the same. We have always functioned and positioned ourselves for rapid expansion. And that's why a good franchising model works for us. And if you're looking at the opportunity that exists as a market today, I think after COVID, we can all very much agree that people have started to ask the right questions. That is, what am I eating? How healthy am I? Is what I'm eating good for me, or is it making me weaker? Or, what kind of habits do I need to adopt to? Apart from that, they're also asking questions like, where is the food coming from? Is it sustainable? Are we doing something good for the planet? Are we being excessive? So because started asking the right questions, and Green Station is placed in a very sweet spot between the healthy food market and the essential food market. So that's where it gives us a very large market opportunity. And if you have been following the trend of organized retail, for example, people who were buying from the thelawalas are buying in stores. So organized retail as a sector has grown. Organic food as a sector has grown. Health and fitness as a sector has grown. So we are looking at an estimated value of only the health food and the organic food market at 2.6 billion by 2025. And right now, where we are for stores like Green Station, in the limited access that we have in tier 2 cities and in south of India, we're looking at a market size of $100 million. And from where we stand today, at this particular point, we're looking at a market size of $3 million with my only 3 stores. So the market opportunity that exists in this sector itself is very, very large. Next, please. So again, I think I've already touched upon the Green Station advantage, but just to go over it again, we're backed by Terra Greens with about 12,000 farmers as a supply chain network and 40,000 SFT factory wherein we do distribute all over the country and the world. We're also looking at being the one-stop shop without the range that we offer. We're omni-channel, so we're present both offline and online. We also bridge the supply chain gap between the producer and the consumer by our direct farmer linkages. We are also, again, conceptualized with clear brand communication, and most importantly, we are multi-brand. So we give our customers the range and the experience that they really want in an essential retail store. So this is a simple SWOT analysis of the business itself. The strengths and opportunities, I think I've already touched upon. The main strength that we offer to our franchisee partners would be that of an experienced team. So we have a model of a centralized warehouse wherein we take care of all the inventory, and the inventory management, store management will be done by our team. So our team comes from a large experience in retail, in organic retail, and also e-commerce retail. So we would be extending the professional support of our team to the franchisee. And of course, again, brand recall, consistency, all our stores look and feel the same. The opportunity that we have, like I said, is the health focused market, the omni-channel presence. There is no other player in small format retail like we are there. Of course, our weaknesses and threats in the market would be that of scattered competition, our target group being scattered across the city because they're still, catering to a niche market rather than a mass market. We also have a large number of brands that we have, and that's where I think having a centralized warehouse system works in the advantage of an investor, is because we will be managing the brands, we will be purchasing, we will be stocking, and there will be no direct contact in terms of inventory management. Of course, these are the main things that we have to look at once we look at the business in a more granular fashion. And this is a simple competition analysis. So we do function in a competitive market space, and anybody who's been following this sector has to agree that there are too many supermarkets opening up everywhere. So how do we stand out is a question that I think is a very important question, especially in the sector. So we have defined our competition to be gourmet retail, something like a Nature's Basket or a food hall, supermarket retail, which is your organized retail. Something in Hyderabad would be like a Ratnadeep, etc., or a Spar or a Star Bazaar or whatever it is, hypermarket format. Other organic stores, so smaller mom and pop stores that are there across the city. E-commerce websites ranging from an Amazon Q Trove to your regular smaller e-commerce retail websites. So how does Green Station stand out? And there are 5 things that we've rated ourselves on. One is the range, the shopping experience, omni-channel presence, trust, and accessibility. So on these 5, we have made sure that we stand out with our competition. Because if you see, for example, a supermarket, they have a great range, but their shopping experience is limited. They do not have an omni-channel presence. They're not present online and offline. The trust factor, what you get in a supermarket might not, it could be what it is or it could not be. And then, yes, on an accessibility level, it's fairly decently high. So similarly, we have ranked every competitor the way that they present themselves to be. And this is our team. We have an experienced team on board. Manjunath manages all supply chain management. He has previously been a part of the Organic World team. He's also worked for Future Retail. Prerna has been a founding member and manages all brand communication and new product development, especially identifying new brands across the country that fit our product portfolio. So like I said, we are very proud to say that we have gone out and identified smaller companies and smaller businesses to be a part of Green Station. And I think personally, it makes a lot of difference to us, because these businesses, unless they have a platform like Green Station, they usually go out of business. So that's the reason we feel that we need to go and actually like bring them on board. And of course, I am there. I have an experience of running an organic food company for 9 years now, starting from scratch, from a small vegetable delivery service to a supply chain company today, wherein we work not only in the Indian domestic market, but the international market as well. This is our organizational chart. My mother and I are on the board. My mother is not an active member, but I am. And Manjunath takes care of supply chain, Preena from branding and marketing. And then we have our warehouse managers and store managers and our staff under them. We also have a very large external marketing and branding agency that works with us. And we also have an agency that works exclusively on digital marketing and social media management. So this again is a support that we would be giving our franchisee partners from a marketing and advertisement perspective, wherein we will be doing marketing from our end for all the stores and all the channels. And this is a financial synopsis, and we have the data up to the second quarter of 2021. Like I said, it's been about 14 months since we started our journey as Green Station, and we have already clocked in 180,000 US dollars of revenue, and we are continuously growing month on month, and we see a very positive trend in terms of customer acquisition, or even the sticky factor of customers coming back, and returning customer rate, which is very, very high for us. And these are few of our achievements as Green Station. So we have 3 small format stores. We have a shop in shop with Metro Cash and Carry. So we have a counter in the Metro store in Kukatpally, which is the largest store. And we have 1 truck, which started, that's how we started our journey. So we still operate the truck. We have 2 franchisees that we have identified real estate on. And we, like I said, we operate out of a centralized warehouse through which we do our deliveries for e-commerce. We also use our stores as a hub and spoke model for deliveries. So all the deliveries that orders that come in through our e-commerce website are also serviced through stores. So when the franchisee investor will invest in a store, the orders from the website will also go to the store if it is in the 5 kilometers radius of that store. So that would be an added revenue for the franchisee investor. And this is the pulse of the customer. I mean, the last one year and 3 months, we have analyzed the data, and we see that there is a lot more growth on the offline level than the online level, mostly because of the competition that we have to face when it comes to online and the credibility factor. When you're an offline store, it's more credible, more accessible, especially in the sector that we function in. And that's the reason that we would want to scale that sector. And coming to the roadmap ahead, we would like to expand, of course, all over the country. But to start off with, we want to tap 100% of the market in Hyderabad, Bangalore, and Chennai, and then move on to tier 2 cities in the states of AP, Telangana, Karnataka, and Tamil Nadu. And then our expansion would be to Maharashtra, Gujarat, and other states. We also want to partner with other retailers so that we can develop our hub and spoke model for delivery, which will give us a good advantage for the omni-channel presence that we were talking about. And more than anything, we want to have conversation with the community, because Green Station is just not a retail store. We want to make it a brand. We want to make it the neighborhood Whole Foods of India. So there's a huge difference between shopping at a small store down the street and shopping at a Green Station. So we want to be an aspirational brand, and this comes through with conversation and engagement with the community. And we want to engage in a way that makes the world a better place, engage with nutritionists, with fitness enthusiasts, with food enthusiasts, especially the different kind of diets that people are talking about: vegan, plant-based. Are we talking about keto diets? What is good for us? What is not good for us? And I think that would help build Green Station as a brand and as a destination. And that also we would want to do at our level so that the brand equity does trickle down to all our investors. And this is our franchisee proposal in a snapshot. We are looking at a franchisee owned company operated model. So we would be operating all the store operations. And like I said, our team, which is also something that we would be extending support on, will be managing inventory, will be managing stores. So the customer experience is not compromised on any level. And we would also be managing inventory and doing data analysis on a centralized level to know that what is moving, what's not moving, what needs to be stocked, what doesn't need to be stocked, so that we can minimize wastage and we can always optimize our supply chain, and that would be managed by us centrally. The franchisee would have to invest on both CapEx and OpEx. Our CapEx investment consists mostly of the interiors and the electrical appliances that go in, and the digital hardware that go inside the store. And the OpEx would obviously be the salaries and the rent, which is the more, and utilities, which is the bulk of what the franchisee needs to invest in. And we will be also helping out in hiring, training, and taking care of the staffs. We will be supporting them with ESI and PF and other things, because they would be on the roles of the company. And we will be supporting in terms of marketing, that is all the digital marketing that we will do, and we will also be doing offline marketing for the franchisee. Like I said, again, inventory management and professional staff support is from us. And considering the projections and the market dynamics, we're looking at a break even and a positive cash flow from month number 4. So that is something that we would be giving our franchisees. So this is our phase 1 of our expansion. Our phase 1 target is to have 5 franchisee stores in Hyderabad city. That is before March 2021. We would be opening 5 franchisees here. And we already have 3 company-owned stores, and we want to open 2 more company-owned stores here in Hyderabad. So in total, Hyderabad as a market would be, for Green Station, we're looking at 10 stores here. And of course, we already have a centralized warehouse in Hyderabad, and we already have a fairly large customer base in the city, mostly because of our parent brand, and also that we've been operating Green Station for about a year now. So our phase 2 would be that of 2021 and 22, wherein we want to expand to Bangalore and Chennai, and also the tier 2 cities in Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, AP, Telangana. So our expansion would be focused on that. We are looking for master franchisee partners in both Bangalore and Chennai. Mostly the other stores that we would be opening in tier 2 cities will be managed from the warehouses of the main capital cities. So that's the model that we're looking at. And we're also looking at franchisee investors in the tier 2 cities. Phase 3, of course, would be expanding all over India in both company owned and franchisee owned models. We also want to open experiential retail, which is large format, wherein it's more on the lines of people coming in and engaging. But this, we'll have to give it a bit of time, because COVID has proven that people do not want to be outside, and they do not want to be in a store where there's too much contact. So if things do go back to normal, we would love to open an experience store. We have a lot of ideas on how it should be, and the conversation around food, conversation around Indian food and healthy eating is something that we want to talk about. And I think I missed a point. So unlike gourmet retail stores, we do not stock imported products. We stock products which are locally made by local companies. So in Green Station, we have all the products that are there are made in India. So we see that there's so many small businesses that are making these amazing products. And when we talk about supporting local businesses, we have to get these products onto the store shelf. And that's where Green Station does, like identify them and get them on board. And that's again how we communicate with our local community. That's that. And we would like to again focus on supply chain, because being in this sector, the problem most of the franchisees face, or most of the stores face, is lack of stock. People cannot connect stock to the store. However quickly they expand, there's always a risk of that. And we win on that level because we have the support of Terra Greens, which is again a supply chain company. So we have the backing of Terra Greens, wherein we prioritize green station supplies over others. And we also have a network of 12,000 odd farmers for our grocery lines, and about 200 to 250 farmers for our fruits and vegetables. We've been in this sector for 9 years now. We're one of the first movers in the organic sector. So that way, the support that Green Station gets, it has a little bit of an advantage over the other players in the market, especially the new entrants, because this field requires you to be very much in touch with the producer. You have to be in touch with the farmer. You have to know where to source, what to source, and whether that particular product is good or bad. And I think that way we have that bit of a competitive edge there. And that's the plan for Green Station. And so apart from this, is a way that we in Green Station work, is that we not only measure our success as a business in terms of the revenue generated, we also measure the success of our business in terms of the impact generated. Because at the end of the day, when we're trying to make the world that little better than it was, we have to create impact for every stakeholder across the supply chain. And we see that for the suppliers that supply to us, the small medium businesses that we work with, for workers, our own customers, the communities that we engage with, or the planet in total, everywhere we are servicing one of the UN sustainability goals. So that way, Green Station is an impact business. So if you're putting in, whatever value that is created is not only monetary, but it is also making the world a better place. So I think that's gives us more satisfaction as a business as well. And I think that's about it. That's what we do as Green Station.
Thanks, Likita. It was a wonderful presentation and an exhaustive one. For us to know as to, what is it really required, as far as the industry is concerned, or as far as, the right practices in the industry is concerned. So that was something, which is very interesting. There are a couple of things that I wanted to understand, as far as the project or the business opportunity is concerned. So what is the kind of returns? I mean, I understand that we look forward to, break even in the fourth month, or maybe a couple of months more if we work individually on that. What is the total investment and the square feet area requirement, and any location in particular, that you feel that, okay, these are the locations that we've already figured out, that these are the pockets where we would want our franchisees to be. And then if you do that, how does the real estate work out? So these 3-4 queries wanted to understand from you.
So what we, the first part of the question, we have a certain set of requirements, Ashita, wherein we said that our store should ideally be somewhere around 800 SFT. But we will function from anywhere between 500 SFT or to 1,000 SFT. Anything beyond 1,000 SFT is a little hard for us. And we also say that we want our stores to be in clusters where our TG is present. And we have identified these clusters, and we have listed out certain localities where we want to have these stores. And this comes from a data-driven approach of our website. So we know that this is a location that we're getting most orders from. So people know Green Station here. So that way we already have a customer base that we would be catering to if we open a store there. So that data driven analytics has been done. And Apart from this, when it comes to the actual investment and the return, we see that the operational expenses, of course, will vary. The rents will vary, but when we have done our calculations, we have taken the highest possible rent, and we see that definitely, like for example, my Banjara Hill store rent is almost 1.5 times that of like my PG Road rent, or even my Gandipet. It's 5 times that of my Gandipet rent. So it's just that we have taken the highest possible rent that would be there for per SFT rent, and we've done the calculations. We are looking at an investment of anywhere between 22 to 25 lakhs. I say 22 to 25 because we will be functioning in a completely transparent basis where everything will be on bill. So whatever would be the expense for that particular store, because depending, if it is a 500 SFT store, maybe I can finish interiors in 7 or 8 lakhs. You never know. Or if it's a larger store and it requires 2 signages, I might need that extra bit of money to have that. So anywhere between 20 to 25 lakhs, we'll be finishing all our capex, and our opex will be somewhere, like the maximum would be somewhere around 2.5 to 2.8, and that is me being extremely on the higher side, because right now with my own experience, we haven't crossed 2 lakhs on the operational expenses. So that is something that we've taken into account, and we have taken the projections as per our own experience and also the industry experience and the competitive landscape. Something like a Bangalore, an area like Bangalore has a lot more target customers than, let's say, a smaller area in Hyderabad, which needs to be developed. It could be a futuristic market. Like, for example, when we opened our Gandipet store, we didn't know if we even have walk-ins. But today I can say that we even sell items which are like 3,000 rupee ghee. Because the target market is there. And people do spend, and it's just a matter of education and reaching our target group. So even if it does take time, it's a very steady sort of a pace. And what I tell my team also is that, we're looking at lifetime customers. We all shop in the same supermarkets as our parents shop. So we're looking at not only that particular customer, we're also looking at their children. So we need to present ourselves like that. And that's how the model has been developed. So yes, we are looking at a break even within 4 months. We will be giving a return on investment. I think in the first year, we would be getting positive cash flow. But from year 2, year 3, you can definitely look at a very good ROI.
That's interesting. So, having said that, if you look generally into the market of grocery stores, of profitability is comparatively lower, in terms of the products, because you already have, branded products where you would have minimal margins available. And if you source organic, by its own, a format of produce has to be expensive, because they take more time, they take more space to be grown. So how that profitability is being measured, in terms of, and in comparison to, the other formats, is it something that works on more sales or acquisition of more clients, or the repeat customer? What does it what does it really bank on, the format?
So we have two things that we work with mainly. One is that we see that our main contributors to our revenue is the fresh fruit segment and the food segment, which is the grocery segment. Both of which is the supply chain is controlled in-house. So that way we give the best margins on the products because we are doing direct farmer procurement. The second aspect that we see is that of the average billing value. We have so many different brands on board which create a market inside of Green Station for high value products. So if I had to only focus on fresh fruits, vegetables and grocery, I would probably be looking at an average billing value of 500 or 600. Our target is to reach an average billing value of 2000 or 2500, which is that of a normal supermarket. So considering the higher margins that we get, or whatever, margins we get from our vendors as well, it is more of a viable option for us. And that's the reason we have created the product mix instead of only being a F&B store, which would have been a much, which is the model that most people follow.
Right. So the differentiator here would be the organic food,
Yes.
particularly.
Organic food, and also access to alternatives for people who are adapting an alternative food lifestyle. Like we have a company from Bombay called Good Milk, which makes a plant-based milk, so which is a huge hit. We have a company called Getaway, which does protein ice creams, and it's a huge hit. And these are the products that have a futuristic market, especially amongst the younger folk who are more conscious about their body image, who are more conscious about their health. And apart from this, we do focus on your daily grocery and items and baby food. We have a lot of brands who do a lot of like baby food, especially in the organic and health category. So that way, we are creating that product mix for our customer.
But they're largely, as you said, that they're procured. They're all things which are made in India and they're locally procured. So does it help you in shelf life? And what do you do with the products which are nearing to their shelf life?
So we control our inventory, Ashita. Like we have a very good team. We've always functioned on an ERP. We've never done manual billing or anything manual. So we control our inventory fairly well. That way, our loss, our whatever inventory that we have, which is non-moving, we run offers, we liquidate. Otherwise, we have conversations with our vendors to replace the stock. So these are the things that the best practices of retail business are something that we've adopted from day one.
Okay, yeah, because
and we have a very data-driven approach in Green Station. There's nothing on gut. I would say it's more based on data. We also have an external CFO team and an inventory management team that helps us out, but like internal audits, external audits, so that we don't waste money on stock.
Sure, because that's the one of the prominent features when it comes to particularly fruits and vegetables, because your shelf life is very, very low in terms of keeping those products. So I think the procurement has to be of course data helps, and it really helps in terms of how, what, and where. And I think that's the key. So if you say that you would want to manage all the stores on your own, so the franchisee participation, is there anything that you seek from a franchisee from a participation point of view?
Not at this moment. We want the franchisee and us to have a relationship of an investor, because we feel that we want to give a seamless customer experience to our end consumer. So somebody who's shopping at my company-owned store will have the same experience shopping in a franchisee-owned store, and we want to maintain that consistency. And that's why we've said that inventory and staff training, hiring would be on us. We do not want of course we want participation and enthusiasm, but not operationally, because operationally we feel that it's better left to the professionals. Even I don't get into it operationally, because like professionals know what they're doing best, and it's much better and more scalable to have it run in a more process-driven fashion rather than a people-driven fashion.
Sure, makes sense. Perfectly makes sense. And what are the sharing that happens with the franchisee? I mean, it starts from the profit flow or cash flow, or how does that happen?
I didn't get you.
So the sharing in the sense that you would seek investment from a franchisee.
Okay, So we give them a cut on the revenue. So our model is that we would be offering a margin on the revenue. So, and we would be processing this payment every 7 days, and we would be giving them a daily sales report from the system every day. So they would have complete visibility into what the sales are, what is their cut, so we want to function in a very transparent fashion. When it comes to everything, it's the channel of communication between the franchisee and us should be open, and we want to keep that way, but we'll be giving a margin on the revenue.
Okay. And the billing and the taxation responsibility would be of a franchisee, or it would be
No,
for...
we would take care. We would take care of everything. We would just be transferring the money to the franchisee.
Okay. Okay. That sounds interesting. So, when you say that you're looking forward for intercity, which is like a Bangalore, which is a different state altogether. So you would want to first look for a person who can, work on a centralized warehouse, or you would do that on your own? Or
So
how
we are looking at a franchisee who will take up at least a minimum of 5. Franchisee want to invest, so we can invest in the centralized warehouse.
Okay.
So if I have a volume of stores, which is like 5, 6, 7 stores, it makes sense for us to put up a centralized warehouse. We would want to still manage the centralized warehouse ourselves, but we would do that if we have a sizable number of stores, a sizable investor coming in.
Okay, and you would like to manage all the stores in different states also, including Karnataka?
Yes. Operationally, we would be appointing a supply chain manager there, a senior manager, and under him a team of warehouse managers and the ground team, and they will be managing the stores on our behalf. So it will be internally managed in the company, yes.
Sure.
Not directly by the Hyderabad team. We would be having a senior management team in Bangalore, a senior management team in Chennai.
Okay, yeah, makes sense, because there's still a lot of growth that can happen in these cities as well. Interesting. So that was an interesting talk. We're actually nearing, to our time, Likita. So I think that was an interesting take. Anything, that you would want to say? I mean, I completely understand that, your product mix is the USP today and the customer experience. But is there anything, that apart from that you would like to highlight, that, this is something that drives you to do this? Because we feel, whether you're a principal company or a franchisee, the passion drives you the most.
Yes.
Even if you want to invest in some venture or any business, you need to believe in that. So
Yes, of
what
course.
is that thing that drives you the most, and you would want your franchisees also to, to be driven by that?
I think even previously and till date, there are 2 things. I think for Terra Greens, what drives us is that we are in a position where we can give support to the producer who works so hard for the produce, and give access to the good food to the consumer. So we're basically taking the produce which is produced by the farmers and getting it to the table of the consumer, and that gives us immense amount of satisfaction, because at the end of the day, the consumer, for their good health, they want access to good food, and the producer, whose pride is nothing but that, gets the platform that they are looking for. That's one thing that drives me. And the second thing, especially in Green Station, that gives us immense pride is that we support a lot of small businesses, especially local businesses. Like when I started Terra Greens, which was in 2012, I didn't have many people who gave me a break. Getting into a supermarket is a very, very expensive proposition. Especially a national chain or even a local chain, it's very expensive. And for a small business, especially in the sustainable space, all of them are small businesses. So anybody who's making edible spoons, the people who are making edible straws for kids, millet-based products, all these products, they just get lost in a supermarket, because 5% of the people who walk into a normal supermarket is their target group. But 95% of the people who walk into a Green Station is the target group for such businesses. So that is one place where they get to shine. And the people who are walking into Green Station will ask questions about their product, and they get that necessary limelight that they require to scale. And I think these 2 are the main things for me personally, and even for the team, that drives us to go further and to like get smaller, very interesting businesses on board, and to give a platform for our customers to come and buy the products that producers produce. So the farmers, my suppliers, my consumer, and of course, with that comes the community and the planet. I think these are the main things that we focus on.
Sure. No, that's something which is very interesting that helps the both producers as well as the consumers, because they're looking for what they're producing. So I think that, platform is something which is very important in today's times. So you look forward to, carry on with this in other states also, because, understandably there is, a lot of mix of product or the local produce, that you can find in these areas. So you would do that locally for every state.
Yes. And that's the reason I want to have a management team in that place, because somebody who's sitting out of Hyderabad would never know the local pulse of another place.
True.
And supply chain management and analyzing the data there. Like, for example, urad dal might not move in a Delhi at all. So, people eat urad gota, which is the black gram. Here in South India, we do not even, like, you go to a normal supermarket, you'll never get urad gota. So that's the difference. And India is such a diverse country with such diverse culture and taste that we do need a local presence, and we do need to engage with the local community at all given points of time. And that was a part of my presentation also, where we have to talk to the community. If we don't talk to the community, the brand cannot be established. And that's one of our mandates, that we need to engage locally.
True. No, I think I love that philosophy that, many international brands has adapted it at different points in different countries. But I'm very excited to see, an Indian brand adapting that, because that really lets you grow on a long-term basis. So it was very nice, Likita, to understand about the product and to see what expansion plans do you have. I think it's something which is very interesting, and look forward to the growth of green stations as well, and would definitely look forward to welcome them in Delhi whenever you're ready for it.
Thank you, Asha. Hopefully soon, not too long.
Certainly. And thank you so much, to our listeners as well. You can, if in case, you require any help or any question regarding the opportunity, you can directly get in touch with Likita, or you can write to us. For anything, these are a few links that you can follow our company on, and we'll be happy to address all your queries. And thank you, Likita, once again for your time.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. It was wonderful talking to you.